Hi guys, I'm here to talk to you about alignment. It is a word that we often use in Pilates. Sometimes you'll even find it in the naming of a class. People call the class Align. And it's such a beautiful and necessary part of Pilates, making sure that you are stacked, that your spine is appropriately curved, and that your pelvis is in neutral, that you're carrying your rib cage in neutral, and that your shoulders are in neutral. So let's think about alignment and just try and first define it so that you have context. When I think of alignment, I think of, are you square, facing forward, and is everything level? Are your earlobes, your jaw, your shoulders, your collarbones, your ribs, is it looking like it's even keel? I took a spirit level on your different positions in your body. Is it actually level? So that's alignment from the front. And so we can go from top to bottom or bottom to top, looking at individual joints. And so can you in the mirror when you stand. You can check yourself for alignments. We can look front on, but we can also look from the side, on your hands and your knees, or when you're lying on your back. So every position can be scrutinized for alignment. So I would like to journey with you today on this topic of alignment and show you the bony landmarks and pointers that you're going to bring attention to and that your instructor might also bring attention to, and hopefully give you a little bit of insider information so that it hits, it lands, and you can then move a little bit better with more confidence, knowing what is it they're trying to align. So can we start from your toes to your nose and talk a little bit about the areas of the body? Starting at the bottom of our body, where our body hits the ground, where we have the reaction forces of the ground acting up through the body and our body needs to respond, we're going to look at the arches of your feet. So if you stand with wet feet on a tiled surface or on the concrete, you could probably step and then stand off and have a little look-see at the shape that your feet are making on the ground. And you can check and see, did my foot imprint a nice shaped foot, or is it a flat foot, or is it way too arched and there's a huge hollow? So you could probably do that assessment for yourself, looking down at your feet when they're wet on a floor. But otherwise, check in the mirror and you'll be able to see if your feet are rolling in, the ankles will divot in like that. If they're rolling out, then it'll look like you're making a scoop with your feet. Neutral is somewhere in the middle. So you could fiddle and faff and try and get your feet to move from one side to the other and then settle somewhere comfortable. If you take a little closer look at the ankle, you'll see the hubcaps on either side of the ankle. Those are your malleoli. So if your malleoli are somewhat level on the two sides, like the hubcaps of a car, then you know your car is driving straight, that you aren't dipping in or rolling out. So that's a bony landmark you can check. You can also feel if your Achilles tendon is tracking straight up, or take a photo from behind and look if your Achilles tendon is tracking straight up. Then another little point we can look at is the patella, or in layman's terms, it's called the kneecap. So you can look at your kneecaps. Are they at the same spot? Is one riding high? And have a little assessment on the kneecaps. Moving up, your hip bone. So you've got these prominent bones on your hips with a bit of a divot in the front. Are those bones and prominences level? Is the top of your hip level? So do you have maybe one hiking up, showing me that this leg is longer or that this back is tighter? That's what we're going to look for here. Then standing tall, do you maybe have one side of your body like listing off? Is the shape of this hole here on the side where your arm meets your side bigger on one side or smaller? Then moving up, collarbones. So you'll look at your bony prominences on the front of your chest, and then the shoulders, is one dropping, so completely dropped, rolled forward, or maybe riding high. So all three of those are potential deviations to the shoulders. Then is your head in the middle of your body? Does it, move out to the side, or are you leaning to one side? So there's a difference between listing and tilting, and also looking at, say, eye line level. So finger level, that's another one I forgot to mention, which is just like if one hand hangs low, that's an obvious malalignment somewhere in the body. This is front on, let's do side on. So from the side angle, we call it the plumb line. So if you were to imagine that we attached a long string with a sinker on the bottom, you would want that sinker to track down a certain line on the side of your body. So you can take a photo of yourself and actually see. If your hips lift too far forward, your head tends to also migrate forward. And so we do not have a plumb line through the shoulder, the pelvis, and the outside of the ankle. So you want to stand with your shoulders over your hips and your head back quite a lot. And so you should be able to see that I can't hyperextend my knees or I'll end up adjusting my rib cage. There has to be a softness in the body and it should just stack perfectly one bone on top of the other. So we'll be able to see if someone is excessively rounded or if they overarch their low back, stick out their bottom, or overly straighten the legs and stick out the tum. All of these things form part of alignment. And these are static positions that I'm discussing with you now. So can you imagine how much more awareness you have to have of your body when you're actually moving and doing something dynamic, that all the levels stay appropriately positioned and that your body doesn't compensate because of tightness or weakness.